our speaker. His name is Steve Hanson. He joined William & Mary from the University of Washington. His expertise is in international stuff. And right now he's with the Reves Center for International Studies at William & Mary. So, sorry.
Well, thank you all for inviting me today. It's always a pleasure to be with Rotary. Obviously, we share a lot of common interests given the international angle of your organization and of our work at William & Mary. I came to William & Mary about 4.5 years ago after 21 years at the University of Washington in Seattle, where I started my career as a Sovietologist. So you can kind of see the generation I'm in. I only had 1 year to be a Sovietologist because I started in 1990, so after that there was no Soviet Union. So I became a specialist in things international after that. But it's been a great life. I've continued to study Russia. I go there frequently to do interviews and kind of keep my research up on that country, which for about 20 years we were telling everybody it's still the biggest country in the world, still has a lot of nuclear weapons, a lot of oil and gas. We should still be paying attention. And now, of course, everyone's calling back and saying, you know, that is true, actually. Which tells you something about our need to keep focusing internationally, even when countries look weak for a while. The world's smaller than it used to be. So I'm in charge at William & Mary of basically the international strategy for the university. And it's a great privilege and a very, very exciting position to hold. I guess I'll start by explaining a little bit why we in higher education these days, William & Mary in particular, are really focusing on internationalization. There's a lot of reasons for that. One is that the students these days are demanding it. So for us to recruit the best undergraduates in the country and the grad students too, they are only going to come to Williamsburg if they believe that by coming here they're going to have global opportunities. And we've heard that from a lot of people. You know, sad to say, the reputation of our beautiful part of the country sometimes leads people to think we're not that global. So we explained to them we're actually the #1 public university in the country for study abroad participation. We actually have over half of our undergraduates at William & Mary do some study overseas before they graduate. We're heading for 60% as our strategic target by 2018. And if we get there, we'll be #4 in the country overall, public or private. So it's pretty exciting. There's a real commitment to that. We also have international student demand for William & Mary. We're at right now about 64 countries represented on the William & Mary campus. A lot of those programs are graduate programs. So, for example, computer science, physics PhD, those graduate programs are predominantly international. MBA, the LLM program, Master of Laws in the Law School, is specifically designed for international students to learn about the American legal system. At the undergraduate level, it's about 7% international students, and that's about where we want it. You know, we don't think we're going to go to 20–25% international students, but it's nice to have that 64 countries represented at William & Mary campus, because then even for those students who don't get to travel themselves, they might have a roommate from Colombia, or they may have somebody that they've just met whose family's from China, or whichever country they're from. So student demand is a big reason we do what we do. There's also the job market. We are in a global economy. We want William & Mary graduates to have global skills. And we've done a lot of surveys recently at a conference we ran at William & Mary a couple of years ago of employers. I think no one in this group will be surprised to hear it. But more than ever, CEOs, hiring officials, HR people are saying we want global cultural skills even at the entry level. So this is a bit new. It used to be people would say we can hire people and train them ourselves, and maybe mid-career, you know, we could send them to Singapore or wherever. But now so much of the work is global, you know, just answering emails from your clients overseas or dealing with distribution chains, whatever it is. They really want to see graduates come in with at least some understanding of cross-cultural differences, differences in institutional systems, legal systems. So, you know, for us to be successful in placing our William & Mary graduates around the world and in the US too, they got to have that global exposure. So that's another reason we do what we do. National security is the third reason. We are pretty big in DC. As you may know, some of our former alums include people like Robert Gates, the former Defense Secretary, now our Chancellor, class of '65. James Comey, head of the FBI, is a William & Mary alum. All sorts of people, 16,000 alums in Washington, D.C. area. We work closely with TRADOC, the Training and Doctrine Command at Fort Eustis, and we're doing some partnership work with them. So it's really nice that we have really serious international expertise on campus so that our friends who work in security areas can benefit from that partnership. And these days we all know that we unfortunately can make some bad strategy decisions around the world as a country when we don't know enough about the local cultural reality or other kind of institutional and local obstacles to the kinds of goals we're trying to obtain. And maybe the last thing I'll say on the list of why we do what we do is we kind of still are a bit naive and we think maybe global cultural understanding could lead to a better world. So we just add that in. It's not easy to measure like the other three, but we do believe in it. So we try to bring people together across cultures and get them to understand each other. What are William & Mary's strategic advantages here? We like, you know William & Mary pretty well living in this neighborhood, but I'll just say a few of the things that we trumpet when we go overseas. I'm on the road quite a lot in this job promoting William & Mary. We have amazing advantages. The obvious one is the history of William & Mary being the second oldest university in the United States. The alma mater of, we like to say, 4 presidents. George Washington got his surveyor's license at William & Mary, so we count that. He didn't go anywhere else, so we'll take Washington too. That really plays well overseas. The tradition, it's funny, in the U.S. it's sort of less of a sell than it is in a place like China, let's say, or the Persian Gulf. You go to those countries and you say we're the second oldest, 326 years old, and they say, what are we now? That's a little high. 323, sorry. And they really react to that. That Harvard was the oldest, William & Mary second oldest, Yale the third oldest. I was sneaking Yale as third so that we get the hierarchy straight. And they sort of opened the door at that point. So we do a lot with that tradition, and it really matters. Our size is fantastic for international partnerships because we're small enough to care about our international partners. I came from University of Washington, as I mentioned. There we had 46,000 students, 16 schools, 5 health science schools, medicine, public health, nursing, etc. 3 hospitals we ran. That was such an enormous institution that frankly it was pretty tough to follow any one partnership with a foreign university or foreign partner. William & Mary were 8,200 students, 6,200 undergrads, 2,000 grads, and that's small enough that if we have a really serious partnership at any of our 5 schools, then we're going to know about it, we can help keep the relationship strong, and it really works well. But in addition to being small, we're also big enough that we can do cutting-edge research. So we're not so small that we don't have any research, we don't have any PhDs. We're out there doing really world-changing things. And so I love the size, it's really a big advantage. We are, as you may have heard, the #1 public university in the U.S. for undergraduate education, according to U.S. News and World Report. Only 3 are ahead of us, and those are Dartmouth, Princeton, and Yale. So we're in rarefied company for the undergraduate education, and that's really helpful because overseas, nothing plays better than #1. Number 42 is okay, number 36. #1 really works, and so on that one we're proud to go out and brag. And we're also able to take advantage of the fact that there are these new global university rankings, which are mainly about graduate education. So they're mainly about big research universities, but there's no global undergraduate ranking. So U.S. News and World Report's about the best we have, and we're #1 in that for publics. So it really works well. I will also add that our location is a real big draw, and primarily the safety of our community here is what matters. Overseas, a lot of people will think of the United States as just a place of too much gun violence. They don't want to send the students. But they see Williamsburg, and they see such a bucolic, lovely place. We are pretty safe, statistically speaking. And we're also close enough to Washington. If they want to get on a train, they can do that too. So the location is a real big sell. So these are all advantages, and then we go out and we try to make them work for the international audience. And the way we do that is through my center, primarily. We bring all the different administrative pieces of internationalization into one shop. So the Reves Center for International Studies, which I'm privileged to direct, was founded in 1989. So we recently celebrated our 25th anniversary last year. Handed out some materials, our most recent copy of World Minded magazine, which gives you a sense of some of the activities we're doing on campus these days. Notice World Minded is WM, so that's a subtle subliminal thing there. No one really notices that unless I point it out. So.
It's not that simple.
It's not that, yeah, it's sort of sub-subliminal. In any case, the magazine and the handout give you, sort of a flavor of some of the outstanding highlights of what we do. But the Reves Center is designed to be an administrative unit. So we're not trying to teach students or hire faculty or do what the arts and sciences or law or business are trying to do. We're making the trains run on time, basically. We've got 3 shops under me. One is called the Global Education Office, and that's in charge of all the study abroad and exchange programs. So mostly, sending our students out to the world, and to some extent bringing the exchange students back in. The second group, International Students and Scholars, is involved in visa, immigration, orientation for everybody who comes to William & Mary from outside the United States. Visas is a big part of what we do. We have to work closely with the Department of State, with Homeland Security and other agencies. to make sure that we are crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's when it comes to who we admit. And we also help our really advanced scholars get advanced visas. So some of the people working in fields like computer science or physics who are contributing a lot to our campus, to get them on the H-1B status, that requires our office to help them do that. Or else they have to go back after 6 years, and then it's hard to get back in after that. And we do a lot more than that too. We do a lot of work with students from around the world. If anyone here is interested, we have a program called Global Friends, and that program basically pairs international students with members of the community in Williamsburg who just like to hang out with them, invite them to Thanksgiving, those kind of American traditions that really mean a lot when you're far from home. And that's been a really successful program. We've had a lot of volunteers really enjoy getting to know a student and staying in touch after they go back home after graduation. The third thing we do, we call global engagement. The global engagement team at the Reves Center is really everything that is global about William & Mary, just promoting it. So that includes public relations, like Kate Hoving. We stole Kate from the city of Williamsburg. She was the communications manager for Clyde Hallman. And I was very lucky because she applied for our position and got it. So we have a locally rooted person who is helping us promote all our activities around the world here in Williamsburg and beyond. We do legal, we do financial. I mean, this is the boring stuff, but just to let you know, sometimes it really matters, right? If you want to send money to support a research project in Uganda, then there's some complications that we have to deal with, and we have our finance manager deal with that. So those are the three teams: global education for study abroad, international students and scholars for bringing people in, and global engagement for making things work. And it's a very powerful group. Only 20 people in all, so that's a relatively small office in a way for all the international activities. But with that 20, all in one building and all working together, we can handle just about any problem that comes up for our scholars, for our students, for our international partners. The success, I think you can see a little bit in some of the handouts and some of the great things that we've been able to promote over the last few years. I'll just mention a few in closing because I want to leave time for questions if there are any. We're very proud that we have just finished graduating the first members of the joint degree program of William & Mary and St. Andrews. So we partnered with St. Andrews in Scotland and created not just a dual degree, but a joint degree. It's one diploma. It has the logos of William & Mary and St. Andrews on it. That combined is 923 years of experience. Maybe 24 now. They're 601st year. St. Andrews is there. We do, as you might guess, attract a fair number of golfers to that program. It's true. Students interested in golf say, what could be better, 2 years at St. Andrews, 2 years here in Williamsburg. It's a very rigorous program that focuses on 4 disciplines: English, history, economics, and international relations. And the students are just loving it. So that's about 30 students a year. They can start at St. Andrews, they can start at William & Mary.
How tough is it to get into?
It's getting pretty selective. But, not any more selective than William & Mary or St. Andrews. It's a special honors group among those candidates. So we're really excited that that program is now, past its 4th year, which means we're in a stable state now. We're taking in about 30, as I say, a year. So overall, it's over 100 students at all levels of the degree in both universities. We've got a really exciting project from the U.S. Agency for International Development. This is called Aid Data. And it's all about exploring what makes foreign aid work or not work. What I love about this project is completely bipartisan, because whether you like foreign aid or don't like foreign aid, everyone wants to know if it works or not. So we should at least be exploring that. So what we've done is, working with partners in the U.S. government, we've created these maps, a lot like Google Maps, where you can drill down and you can look at the effect of a particular aid project at the subnational level in countries around the world. So not just, did aid to Malawi create better effects in Malawi, but did this particular malaria project or polio project, did it do something in this particular village? And you can correlate the effect of the aid to the outcomes, as I say, village by village if you really want to do it. We're trying to create the world's biggest database of aid projects, not just USAID, but also the European Union and the Norwegians and anybody you can think of. I think I read it's $3 trillion of aid now being tracked through that. So what's great about it, it's all public. If you want, you can go on aiddata.org and click on it, and you too can go see whether aid was effective or not effective. We have an article in the Washington Post about this coming out just tomorrow. And I just read the draft, actually, as I was sitting at the lunch. Apparently the best aid comes from Norway. The Norwegians are #1 in terms of the effectiveness of aid, according to a poll of the recipients. US a little lower, so you can take a look at that report. We're very excited about it because the undergraduates are participating in this. You know, we have 20-year-olds from William & Mary going out there and looking at whether Nepal aid, is working or not. And after the big earthquake in Nepal last summer, some of those students voluntarily got together in a club and said, we have this technology, let's track whether aid to earthquake victims is going to the right places or not. And they ended up working with the Red Cross and other partners, and it turned out it was really helpful, to have that kind of real-time mapping of how to get aid to the people who needed it. So yeah, it's just a very, very innovative and exciting thing. We have the William & Mary Confucius Institute. That's a project that the Chinese government helps to support. It provides, and some of you may have seen this, access to things like the martial arts troops that are touring the United States, or Chinese lessons, or calligraphy. People always wonder, does that mean that you're just doing what the Chinese government says? The answer is absolutely not. We stay away from anything political. In fact, we had the Dalai Lama visit, 2 years ago as well. So that was an exciting year for me because I had the Dalai Lama and the Confucius Institute at the same time. And that is part of my job, is to try to keep the diplomacy in balance. It's very important for us to see, for the world to see us as bipartisan, as open to all comers, as genuinely a place for tolerance and debate of international issues, regardless of where people start. I think we do a reasonably good job of that at William & Mary. If you don't think so, write me, because we'll always try to keep the balance moving. Well, that's just a sense of what we're able to accomplish by having international strategy in a single place. I report to the provost, who's the #2 person, and the president's deeply involved, Taylor Reves. So it's been a wonderful experience for me working here, by far the best professional experience of my career to date. My wife got a job at the William & Mary Law School. She used to be a corporate lawyer in Seattle, and now she's teaching kids how to do legal writing. I say kids.